Sarah. This is your third talk with us, so great to have you back. And so without further ado, it's all yours.
Thanks very much, Ken. Good evening, everybody. It's really lovely to see you all here. Really great turnout tonight. It's good to see so many people interested in growing their own food. I hope that you have a lovely space that you can play with at home and get some inspiration from the tips I'm going to give you during my talk. So I'm just going to try and share my screen and hopefully this is going to work. 2 seconds. Okay. There we go. All right. So today, as Ken said, I'm going to be talking to you about growing crops in pots and giving you plenty of ideas for a fruit-filled garden. Now, there are no limits when it comes to growing your own fruit and vegetables. So really let your imagination run wild. So whether you have a patio garden, a balcony, or space for some window boxes, growing your crops in pots is just so easy and so rewarding. For a little bit of inspiration here, I've got a beautiful image of an edible container garden at Great Dixter, which is a stunning National Trust garden. So perhaps when the weather warms up and people are venturing out a bit more, definitely go and give it a visit for some inspiration. So the first step for your container garden is definitely choosing a great container. So have a think, do you have any good pots or containers already that could be reused? So you can get as creative as you like with this, you know, reusing different tubs and pots and everything, maybe food containers, anything that you can place your hands on. So have a think about what look you're going for. Terracotta pots and wooden troughs are really great for a country or wild styled garden. Wine boxes, as you can see in this image here, also make a really lovely addition to any garden. I think they're just beautiful. So angular zinc pots can look really great in a modern, more formal garden, but I really love round zinc pots with plants tumbling over the sides in a more romantic cottage garden. Zinc pots are also really light, so they're perfect for balcony or rooftop gardening when you need to keep an eye on the weight. So that's something that's really important to bear in mind if you do have a balcony. Choose lightweight pots and yeah, good compost, and just be mindful of how many pots you put on there. Make sure that the space is going to be able to support the weight. So there are some good looking plastic pots out there as well, which are so great if you need lightweight pots as well. And also there's plenty of fold away sacks available, which are made from sustainable biodegradable materials such as jute, which are a fantastic option for growing your vegetables on a budget. They're also really fantastic because at the end of the growing season, you can just fold them up and put them away if you're limited with space. So pick pots that suit your garden and that of your personality. Go for vibrant colours or muted hues. The choice is really yours. I've got a lovely example here just of some jute bags where they've got some very vigorous, happy looking tomato plants growing up them. So choosing your compost is really important as well. So it's good to pick a good multi-purpose compost, or you can choose something specifically for containers, which would have good water locking qualities. Compost with Johnnines added is really great for feeding your young plants as well. Johnnines, it's a fertilizer and it will just get your crops off to a really, really good start. Now, just before I finish talking about containers, I just want to add that it's really important to consider drainage. So if you're using pots, make sure that you put holes into the bottom, and you can use like broken bits of terracotta pots, for example. Just place them over the hole and that will just help with the drainage. And also just be sure to water your pots really well. So what vegetables grow well in pots? First of all, salad leaves. Now, cut and come again salads and greens are a real joy to grow. And if you grow them in pots, you can position them close to your door or your window for speedy snipping. Now pick spicy salad leaves such as rocket, mizuna, or red mustard, and mild varieties like corn salad, purslane, and lettuce. And how about throwing in some citrusy sorrel? I grew an abundance of salad leaves in my raised bed last year, and they just did so well, and they just kept on giving throughout the season. So I definitely recommend giving it a go. Next up, tomatoes. Now, tomatoes do extremely well in containers, whether tall cordon varieties, bush tomatoes, or beautiful tumbling toms reaching over the edge of your pots laden with these red delights. I grew so many tomatoes last year. I think I had about 30 plants in containers in my garden. Really went for it, and I just want to make a couple of good recommendations for you to try. I chose a variety called Summerlass. They were abundant and beautiful and wonderful. I also grew a yellow cherry called Yellow Mimis. I know my friend Mimi is watching this evening, so that one's for you, Mimi. But they are just wonderful. They were covered in yellow fruits and they were just beautiful and delicious. So really recommend giving them a go. And I certainly have a go at experimenting with some, say, French heritage varieties, the kind that you might find on a provincial market. Good varieties that I would recommend would be Marmande, are absolutely stunning, big kind of beef tomatoes which have a scalloped edge. They're really stunning and very rich and delicious. And Margold as well, which are kind of the two-tone orange fading to red, which are just beautiful in any salads as well. And yeah, one last one that I want to recommend, just from my picture you will see a lovely stripy green tomato in the middle. Now that will be a green zebra. I grew these last year and they're just wonderful, and they are supposed to be green when you pick them, but they just make any salad look really stunning. Next up, courgettes. So if you don't have space for a courgette in the ground, just don't worry about it. You can pop it in a pot. Courgettes, when you grow them in the ground, they need up to 1 meter round space to spread out, and they really will take up all of that space. So if you put them in a pot, it just helps them stay more compact, and they grow really well. I grew some in containers last year and I had plenty of lovely delicious courgettes, so definitely give them a go. Something that's really important with courgettes is to keep them well watered. They don't like being under stress water wise, so keep them well watered. They'll grow really happily and provide you with plenty of lush courgettes. So with our increasingly hot summers, we can now also grow very successfully sweet chilies, sweet peppers, chilies and aubergines outside. So be sure to get some planted into pots. I grew aubergines for the first time last year very successfully, and got good sized fruits, very beautiful. So definitely give it a go. They have quite spiny stems, so if you have small children and spines are an issue in the garden, then just choose a thornless variety. They are out there. Next up, radishes. Now I recommend growing delicious radishes in containers for speedy and delicious crops. Plus you can sow seed every fortnight for a steady supply. So I have grown blue and red moon radishes before, which are just utterly beautiful. They're bright pink and deep purple inside, and they make a really stunning addition to any salad. When I'm making my salads, I like to make them as colourful as possible, so I like growing kind of rainbow vegetables. So beetroot, carrot and spring onions also will be really successful in a pot. So make sure that you give them a good deep pot. Just think about their root vegetables, so they need space to spread out, but you can sow the seed quite tightly together. They will do really well. Okay. Oh, and definitely have a go at growing some different colours there as well. Similarly to my last point, you can see here we've got beautiful purple carrots, white carrots and orange carrots. So yeah, it's really fun just mixing it up a little bit. So potatoes, grow really fantastically in pots, and if you've never grown them before, now is the time. They're so perfectly suited to container growing, and you can grow them for crops in different seasons. So you can get early varieties, your main crop, and then a later crop as well. So you can see here, this container is specifically created for growing potatoes. You harvest the potatoes in this way from the roots, so you can just pick out the pot, pick out your potatoes and pop it back in, and then they can just keep on growing. So it's a really great way of doing it. Just Google potato growing containers and you'll find what you need, definitely. Now, definitely put some French or runner beans into a big pot as well with a bamboo or willow wigwam, or you can grow them up a trellis, as you can see in this lovely image here, and just enjoy watching them weave their way to the top of the canes. They grow really, really quickly, they have beautiful flowers, and they'll be abundant with beans. You can see here in this image as well that not only have you got the lovely bean plants creating a lovely vertical display, but you can underplant your containers with other beautiful plants as well and really make the most of that space and just make it as beautiful as you want. Now, maintenance is really important when creating a container garden, just like when you're creating a garden planting in the ground as well. So the rules are a little different. You want to make sure you protect your pots from slugs using copper tape and use netting whenever needed. Now, I used copper tape last year on my raised bed, and it was really, really helpful for stopping. It basically stops the slugs from going over that copper barrier. So it's definitely worth having a go. Keep your pots well watered. They will dry out quicker than flower beds. So once a day in the warm weather is best. And go for healthy organic, for healthy and organic abundant crops, feed your pots, go organic. Now, I use organic seaweed feed, which is just so easy to use, and the plants really, really love it. Now, I want to recommend an instant edible garden, which you can create from a company called Rocket Gardens. Now, they will provide you with an amazing selection of edible plug plants ready to plant. Now, they come in all different varieties to fill containers, raised beds or allotments, or any beautiful budding borders. Now, they're really great value, and they also make amazing gifts for someone to get them started with their vegetable growing. And I say, share the love. So I just want to give you a few ideas for creating a fruit-filled garden. Growing your own fruit is just so rewarding, from succulent berries to sumptuous cherries and crunchy apples. Just be sure to grow what you love to eat. That is really the joy of growing an edible garden. Just pick what you absolutely adore and just give it a go. Now, have a think about what you will use your harvest for. So is it a delicious fruit salad? Maybe you're more of a crumble person, or maybe you want to grow yummy fruits to add to your cocktails or smoothies. So be bold and experiment. Now, you could experiment with some more unusual or exotic fruits as well, and you'd be surprised what you can successfully grow in this country. Now, there are plenty of fruits that will grow well in containers as well as in the ground. So if you have a patio or a restricted space, you can still get growing. Now here, this photo is of goji berries. Goji berries grow absolutely beautifully in this country, and they just give a little bit of the exotic. Plus, they're a superfood. You know, they are packed full of antioxidants, packed full of vitamin C. So it's a really, really fantastic and unusual thing to growing in your garden. And the colours, that pop of colour, I think is just absolutely stunning. So strawberries for me encompass the sweet taste of summer, with beautiful, soft, juicy berries, which are just perfect for fruit salads or smoothies. So you can harvest these delicious berries from June until September. They are prolific growers, sending out runners to form new strawberry plants in any space available. So be sure to use netting to protect against hungry birds, and pop a layer of straw under the fruit to keep them healthy. This just stops the berries from rotting when they make contact with damp compost. So definitely give them a go. They're just wonderful. I had so many strawberries last year, and there's nothing like a fresh picked strawberry. It's so different from anything you buy in the shop. So next up, blueberries. Now you can enjoy these delicious wonder berries from midsummer onwards. Now blueberries contain a wealth of antioxidants, and they're rich in vitamin C. Both are beautiful. Oh, sorry, I had blackberries in here before as well. So they're beautiful cooked and also added to fruit salads or to smoothies. Now they can be grown very successfully in containers or in the ground, but again, watch out for birds. So just use the netting to protect them. So another top tip for planting your blueberries is that you should plant them in ericaceous compost to keep them really, really happy. And this will be available from any garden centre. Now from August to October, I really recommend getting outside to forage for blackberries. They're so delicious and they grow in abundance. So think about good spots near your home where you can find blackberries to pick. They freeze beautifully so that you can store away your stash for months to come. Last year, I foraged the most enormous amount of blackberries and it took up most of the room in my freezer, which I was very, very happy about. They lasted for a really long time, so definitely have a go. So you can enjoy them in fruit salads, and if they're frozen, pop them into your smoothies and even your baked goods. I make berry muffins on a regular basis using frozen berries, and last year's crop of blackberries were certainly a feature for these. So all you need to do is just roll them in a little flour before adding them into your batter, and they just cook absolutely beautifully. So definitely have a go at growing fruit trees in containers. Before fruiting, you get to enjoy the most beautiful blossoms on your trees, and I just think this is a symbol of new life, new beginnings, and hope for the seasons ahead. Now, if you grow your fruit trees in containers, get creative with your pots and create a beautiful display with flowers, salads, or herbs growing at the base of your tree. Now, if you grow trees in a pot, just be sure to choose one of the lovely varieties suited to container growing. They'll be more than happy in a pot, and they will only get to a certain size, so they're just perfect for this kind of environment, and you'd be amazed how many different things you can grow in a container. So first up, apples. Now you can grow apple trees in the ground or in containers. So buy dwarf or semi-dwarf varieties for containers and small spaces. So you can grow them as espaliers as well, which is where you have kind of a frame up on a wall, and you train your apple tree along this frame, and it just means that it grows on the horizontal instead of growing outwards. So it's just perfect if you've got a wonderful wall and not much other space for your tree to spread out. So apple trees fruit from August to November, and they will provide you with an abundance of fruit across the season. So next up, cherries. Now these brightly coloured fruits are so sweet and delicious, and they look so beautiful in any garden, just like little red jewels. Now you can pick trees with pink or white blossoms to fit with the colours of your garden. And I recommend choosing a self-fertile variety because this means it will pollinate without a partner. So if you've only got space for one tree, this is ideal. I really recommend a variety called Stella, Prunus Stella, which is just stunning, perfect for container growing, and it will give you fruit every year. So harvest your fruits from June until August and give them a good layer of mulch in February. And just plant your cherry tree from any time between November and March as well is best. Now for a little taste of the exotic, definitely have a go at growing kiwi fruits. You can climb a kiwi up a trellis. They are a climbing vine plant and absolutely beautiful. So for delicious fruits in August and September, grow them on a sunny wall and give them plenty of space to roam. So plant male and female plants, or choose, as with the cherry, a self-fertile variety just to ensure that you get fruits. These are packed full of vitamin C, and they're an absolute divine addition to any fruit salad. Now, finally, as mentioned in all of my talks, because we all seem to have a real soft spot in our hearts for them, I want to talk about cucamelons. So cucamelons hail from Central America. They look like tiny watermelons, as you can see in this picture, and they're small enough to fit in a teaspoon. And the flavour is cucumber with a zingy tinge of lime, which is just delicious. So their vigorous trailing vines provide a constant stream of fruit until from late July all the way up until the first hard frosts. So you can add them to your salads or to your cocktails or mocktails, and they are just the perfect addition to a G&T in the summer as well. So thanks everyone for listening. I'm wishing you an abundant year in your vegetable-filled gardens. You can explore my website, details are all here, and also to if you'd like to follow me on Instagram for inspiration as well, that would be lovely. But it's lovely to see you all here. Thank you very much again for listening.